With the conclusion of the World Championships in Vermont last week, we travel 11 hours northeast into Canada, the smallest province of Canada at that, Prince Edward Island, for the final three-round event of the Disc Golf Pro Tour season. It's the 2023 Discmania Open at Rose Valley Disc Golf Course in beautiful Prince Edward Island. Canada current conditions, 67 degrees, 99% humidity. Feeling like we're swimming down here on the ground. 7-mile-an-hour wind, south-southwest. Canada, the solution for growth and bloom.
Yeah, Brian, 99% humidity. I was just standing behind the tee pad of hole one, and what little wind you felt about an hour ago has now settled down. There's a light drizzle right now. And of course, it wouldn't be a Silver Series without thunderstorms looming on the horizon, B.
Well, Nate, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. We just finished the World Championships. We travel almost 12 hours northeast into Canada to Prince Edward Island the week directly after for a silver event. And we have the smallest field of the season. Can you talk about maybe why?
I mean, there's so many factors that determine someone, making that trip. Like you said, it's 12 hours, and people just put all of their focus, all of their chips on one of the biggest tournaments of the year, Worlds in Vermont. And so to make that push all the way to this little province in Canada, to then turn around, drive back another 10 hours for the next big event, Maple Hill, I think people are kind of, weighing the scales right there and going, I think I'm just going to go down to Massachusetts and get a little extra time there, maybe take some time off. So it's tough.
Well, the Road Warriors will be rewarded. Again, this is a silver event in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and they are more valuable than ever, and multiple players battling for some points moving into this final stretch of the season. And speaking of these silver events, we've had so many unique winners, starting with Sai Ananda back at the Texas States. Nate, you and I were both out there calling the shots. What a moment that was. And now at the Beaver State Fling, Jennifer Allen gets a big win. A phenomenal performance from Jen. And then obviously Kristen Tatar, just one of many. I mean, that one speaks for itself out there at the Cascade Challenge. And then Allie Smith winning the Kansas City Wide Open. I mean, it's just phenomenal how many unique winners we've had in the FPO division. Nate, what does this say? I mean, Owen Scoggins taking down the Mid-America Open. What does this say about the division?
Well, I mean, there's just a lot more talent than we've ever seen. And I think it says something about the Silver Series event tour as well, is that it's giving players an opportunity to showcase their skills and to get points. You can see Juliana, one of our commentators for this event, actually chose to compete last minute because, Brian, she could make it to the Tour Championship with some points here.
And Juliana's had a great season. She's had some really fantastic performances. And yes, a victory here would be huge for Juliana. Another player that loves coming up into Canada, historically has made the trip up here, Ella Hansen, who doesn't necessarily need the points. Nate, let's take a look at some of the things that she's done this season, most specifically what she did recently at D-Glow, that incredible battle against Owen Scoggins.
Yeah, and this shot here on 16, it just says a lot of where she's at. She's probably the only FPO player in the field going mid there, just puts that one inside the bullseye. And the one thing that we were just discussing was the correction that she's made on her forehand game, Brian. You and I both noted earlier this year, she would often miss inside on that nose-up hyzer, and she's really been delivering these flat forehand approaches. Here we are at D-Glow, beautiful shape right there, and here on hole 18.
Yeah, she's just continuing to show us that she's figuring out how to prevent that ultimate mistake, dropping the shoulder, popping the nose up, which is just a leftover habit from all those years of Elite Ultimate. Now she's finally throwing those flat, powerful forehands, like you said, and getting herself even more looks for birdie. So she's going to be a tough one to beat out here.
Discmania Open 2023 feature card for FPO. First on our tee, 5-time world champion, Juliana Korver.
We watched Juliana podium at the Portland Open. She has so much gas left in the tank. Hole one, just trying to stick this one in bounds.
Yeah, and this sends about 60 feet from tee to the fairway.
And Deanne Carey had a couple of fantastic performances earlier this year. 5th at Waco, 2nd at the wraparound event at New World, 7th DDO.
Next up, Karen Martel.
And here is a Canadian on our feature card. Still about 10 hours away, just outside of Montreal. Been playing since 2017.
That wind out of the southwest is showing itself as a slight tailwind right to left on the first tee. You can see it just kind of get under that hyzer a bit.
Rounding out our 10:05 tee time, Ella Hansen.
Great opportunity for Ella to just eat up the majority of this fairway here. And you can see her flying 100+ feet out in front of her competitors.
And that wasn't even extra effort from Ella. That was actually toned back to put her in the middle of the fairway. Just insane power from Hansen. All 4 shots right in the middle of the fairway. Up ahead to the chase card, Ratana Meekum.
Little right to left wind here. She's going to put this up into the wind and let this drift back. Oh, off the bucket, Brian. Sit down. And it does.
Ratana has a look from circle 1. Let's take a look at the leaderboard for the points series of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Kristen Tatar obviously on top. Missy Gannon right behind her. All the typical suspects, Nate.
Well, we're really focusing in on right now the top 18 advance to the Tour Championship, Brian. Like Lorenzen jumps herself up into contention with that 7th place finish at Worlds. Sai Ananda, Lisa Fakis on the bubble here. Juliana Korver is the only player outside of the bubble who is competing at this tournament, Brian. So with a cash, I believe all she has to do is cash at this event. She has to get top 3, and she's going to push herself up into that top 18, and then she just has to maintain at Maple Hill.
Well, she's right in the middle of the fairway. Nate, talk about what this hole demands of the players as they start out the course here at Rose Valley.
We have that big downhill tee shot, and it's really an opportunity to bite off a lot of distance. Juliana and Deanne and Martel just kind of opted to chip that hyzer down to the bottom of the hill. So they're going to leave themselves quite a bit left. I believe Martel's going to have overfeet hill here.
Yep, nice and easy. About 100 feet away from the basket. Definitely rewarding distance here, Nate. Now, Carey. Yeah.
And it's pretty conservative.
Out of bounds hazard surrounding this fairway. And it's just hard to get extra distance going so far uphill. You have to have explosive legs. JK going for a little bit more power here, trying to at least get up to throw-in range. Still outside circle 2. And we will just see now how far up the fairway Ella Hansen actually got. Nate, as we walk up the fairway here, how much of an advantage does having distance give Ella Hansen on the rest of this course, not just hole 1?
Now, Rose Valley, we're going to see that distance really comes into play here. I mean, I feel like if you're not getting the disc up to that 400 foot of speed, you're not really going to be scoring on about 5, maybe 6 holes out here at Rose Valley. And you can see Ella just goes, chip hyzer. She still goes with the 12 speed, but she just chips that one in, one angle off the tee, one angle on the approach. She's going to have the only look at birdie out of the whole field.
Now up ahead on 2, Meekum from circle 1 for birdie. Got it. Meekum going to jump back to par. Now Emily Yale.
And she's in for birdie.
Now back to hole 1.
Still 100 feet or so.
Footer for the par. And this is just a hole it seems like you just really don't want to take a bad number. You just need to take a 4.
And the wind has just really settled down out there.
No problem there for Karen. Wow, it just goes to show you how far Ella can truly throw. She's inside the circle, almost at the bullseye, from 2 one-angle shots.
That's definitely going to make a difference out here.
And JK about 20 feet away from for the par. Up ahead to Ratana on 3.
Yeah, pretty big ask here, 383 feet. It is significantly downhill, and Ratana just goes with the hyzer there, something slightly understable, and that was a nice read right there. She's going to be putting from shallow circle 2.
Couple of storylines to talk about. This is our last 3-round tournament of the season, Nate. The points do matter. Juliana Korver needs 4.25 points to get back into qualifying for the Tour Championship. And also, we're going to have a new winner crown. None of the people signed up for this tournament have won a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, so regardless of the size of the field, it's still going to be a great win. There's still great players to play against. And then also, this is the 7th time zone that the Disc Golf Pro Tour has filmed in this year, Nate. I know you've been on tour for a long time. It's definitely dizzying at times. You sometimes really forget where you are.
That does happen often. Wake up in the van and you're wondering what state you're in, what province, what country, and I think we've been a part of all those time zones this year, Brian. It's pretty special where you can watch the Disc Golf Network these days.
Well, now we are in Atlantic time. We are an hour ahead of Eastern time as we watch Ella Hansen grab a great birdie. And now Juliana Korver, tester from 20, 25. Got it. It's going to be a par for JK.
run this one back for JK. And, you know, this is normally a distance that we...
Up ahead to 3, Emily Yale.
Nice little baby Anheuser out of the hand. Does it get back? Needs a late skip.
Oh, Nate, fantastic shot.
Into the circle. Those trees on the right can give you trouble.
Carrie's going to grab the par.
Yeah, well played from our lead card. We're going to go 1 down with 3 pars there.
And now Ratana, circle 2 for birdie. Yes!
Oh, gives it the height, swings it in, and there's a drop-off behind that pin as well.
Perfect speed, perfect trajectory. Nice putt there for Ratana. Now Yale for birdie. Okay.
Strong putt, high on the pole.
Meekum and Yale are both now 1 under, erasing the bogey on hole 1. Let's take a look at the scoreboard early on. 3 players at 1 under. Ella Hansen grabbing the great birdie on hole number 1. Course has a fantastic mix of open, wooded, artificial OB, no OB. What are your overall thoughts, Nate?
I really enjoy Rose Valley. This is my 3rd time traveling to Prince Edward Island, and in the past we've played Hillcrest Farms, and this is a significant change. I think this course is a little more geared toward, you know, where the tour is heading. A little bit more airspace, a little bit more room for spectators, and it's a nice venue. There's a brewery right on site as Ella actually carries that fairway just a little deep. You can see that right to left wind just kind of pushing it.
Now Corver hoping to make a correction. OB deep is just outside circle 1.
Juliana's still going to go driver. That's a little inside. She needs some help. She gets it. 20-footer back into the headwind.
Short side OB is just outside circle 2.
Nice little read right there from Deanne, choking up on that driver.
And Karen has swung this perfectly just outside the bullseye. 15-20 footer for birdie. I see a little Holland Hanley in that backhand swing for Martell. Not sure if she copied that or not, but the little whippy action, I'm excited to see it throughout the round. So far, throwing the disc very well.
So if you do find yourself OB here on hole 2, you're headed straight to a drop zone, which is actually outside of circle 2. I imagine Ella's just going to be chipping this one up.
I've heard this discussion topic multiple times, Nate. You look down, you see the green being framed up with the out-of-bounds flags. What are your thoughts on having the quote-unquote putting surface that you can't jump putt outside being framed in a custom way like that?
Oh, I would love to see that. I think that would be great. And for, you know, for the average spectator, I think that the aesthetics there would be nice.
Something that I've heard talked about for a very long time. You know, why does the putting circle have to be a circle? Why can't we frame it up ourselves with special flags or stakes to indicate where the players have to display balance from? It's something that's been
Like
talked
that.
about a lot. I think just putting in general at the professional level is something that a lot of people are trying to find a solution for. But I do like the aesthetics of these framed up greens for sure.
Juliana's going to be coming back into the slight crosswind here. She's going to have a headwind right to left, not necessarily the best wind for her nose down delivery. And she does flatten it out actually, but just kind of pulls it.
Okay, Deanne Carey grabs the birdie, goes to 1 under par.
One of my favorite memories growing up was a trip I took with my dad to Hawaii. We just got done with a round of disc golf and decided to listen to the Grateful Dead. Without saying anything, we both knew we needed to dance, and that's exactly what we did. Sometimes you just need to stop and enjoy the music.
An important part of getting a PDJ membership is helping grow the game. Membership dollars are used to bolster competition of all levels, from local C-tiers to majors. Tools like Digital Scorecard and Tournament Manager help events run seamlessly. Your PDJ membership also gives you access to Disc Golf Network coverage for select events and a 50% discount to their full coverage package. Help grow the sport and get started today. Visit pdj.com/join.
One thing we all love about disc golf is it's a lifetime sport. Whether you play pro, am, juniors, or senior grandmasters, we all want to play this sport as much as we want and for as long as we want. This can introduce wear over time, potentially hindering your ability to continue playing. A cart reduces the cumulative stress on your body that comes with repetitive motions such as reaching down and lifting. This will help keep you on the course, maximizing your athletic potential and playing your best.
There's something about sand that reminds us of ourselves. What were once great stones have been ground down over years and years into something so small. But sand also shows us that everything we do matters, and that together, even our smallest actions can create great dunes. Because little by little, a little becomes a lot.
And if you are watching this on YouTube right now, round 1 of the Discmania Open is brought to you on YouTube by the Disc Golf Network. Subscribe to the Disc Golf Network to catch the rest of the Discmania Open and exciting upcoming events like the MVP Open and the United States Disc Golf Championship. If you subscribe now and scan the QR code, you will receive a 7-day free trial to the Disc Golf Network. Scan that QR code or hit the link in the description to do so. And if you didn't do it initially and you now have changed your mind, the QR code now is in the bottom left of the screen. Grab your 7-day free trial of the Disc Golf Network as we watch Deanne Carey throw a clean hyzer down that right side. Could be an obstructed putt. Now Martell.
Oh, a little flex on it.
I like the height.
Fading up right on time. And great distance control there. Nearly pin high, just outside the bullseye.
The course tightens up significantly towards the back nine. Quite a few holes out in the open in the beginning. Now Corver.
Also a great distance match right there, just 24 feet coming back at it.
Now Hansen.
Ella gonna take this one a little bit more hyzer here, using the width. And kind of misreads that one a little bit, Brian. Leaves herself in the middle of circle 2.
And as they walk down the fairway, let's take a look at the U-Disc course close up. Nate, take it away.
Man, Prince Edward Island, what a special place to find yourself here. The tourists have all left after Labor Day, and it's just a peaceful island. And we're just a few miles from the Confederation Bridge here in Rose Valley. It's a par 64, another kind of short course here for the Silver Series, Brian, just 8,400 feet. And it uses the elevation in these open pastures here quite well. We started out in the open here, and then we kind of get back into the woods for a second, and then we kind of climb the hill back toward the clubhouse, which doubles as a restaurant and a brewery.
Well, Rose Valley, clearly one of the premier disc golf courses in Canada. And if you want to run your own event on U-Disc, make sure to go to udisc.com/events to showcase your beautiful course in your region.
If you have the pleasure of making it up to PEI one day, you're going to cross the world's longest bridge over icy waters. You can hardly see the end of it when you start it, Brian. It's pretty sweet.
And now, like you said, mid-circle 2 look for Hansen. The wind is blowing.
Healthy bid there. Catches some trees on the way in, and
now Carey, a little bit obstructed just outside circle 1. This is about 40 feet. Got it. Fantastic.
that little jumper right there into the tailwind.
Not a bad play, playing it down that right side. Deanne, one of the better gap hitters on the tour, playing on that East Coast when she's not on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Interested to see how she plays some of these more wooded holes out here. But now Corver.
Oh yeah, she's good for it. Makes the correction, gets it back online there from the straddle stance. Those are the distances that have kind of limited her from better finishes in the past couple of years.
And now Karen Martell for a great birdie.
And we're going to go 3 down here on the second, Brian. This is a 383-foot par 3.
And as Ella taps out, we're going to take a look at Nate's notes for Rose Valley DGC. There's that bridge in the background, Nate.
Yep, that's the Confederation Bridge. And, most of the players here are staying right on these red cliffs that look over that bridge, and it's just a beautiful place to find yourself. And yeah, morning dew. It's wet out there. You saw it, 99% humidity. The pasture is just soaked, so the footing's going to come in play. A lot of downed trees out there, Brian, and we actually did apply for a waiver from the PDGA to see if we could move some of those trees. We got denied that waiver, so that they're just going to have to play with those trees down. And match play mindset, we have 7 people in this field, Brian, and it's one of the few times that I feel like the players have the green light to go ahead and keep checking those scores and decide whether or not they need to push, or whether they're just kind of playing the competitor on their card.
Nate's notes brought to you by blackinkdisc.com, the premium disc golf store. Now we jump ahead. Deanne Carey, beautiful drive, hits the gap out in the middle. How tight is this gap, Nate?
Yeah, it's definitely tense. I mean, it's 14 feet across, maybe at its widest. But the thing is, it's so early off the tee, I feel like most players aren't going to have trouble with it.
And Karen Martell doing the same thing, sticking it right in the short grass. It's a 514-foot par 4. Players just trying to get one out into the open.
It's perfect positioning over there on that left side of the fairway.
Ella sticking it a little bit farther back. Pretty generous fairway there, Nate.
Yeah, the difficulty here is giving yourself the proper angle on this approach, and we're going to fly it here. We've got this, it's kind of a staggered gap. We've got this tree on the right that can get into your mind. Most players are going to be throwing a little bit of ante out of the hand to make this gap feel a little bigger. The wind is down right now. Probably can't feel it at all on the tee of 4. As you fly through that gap, you're going to swing your disc back onto hyzer. The further left you are, the more that you have a hyzer approach into the screen. I think Ella is kind of centered up with the gap, and she's going to have more of a left to right swing through this gap and up this hill. There is a little backdoor there on the left, Brian, but most players are going to try and swing this one around this final pinch point here and have a putt from the right side of the circle back at this pin.
And a beautiful Flight Factory drone flyover, looking down on these clean lines carved into the fairway. Lush greenery out here at Prince Edward Island. Now, Nate, we look at the tree line. The players are obviously throwing through this gap primarily, but are the trees short enough to where a player like Ella Hansen could potentially go over the top?
It's pretty steep, and as far up as she is, I think that might... I can't imagine it being better than her play to go straight. And Deanne finds that inside line, Brian, a little early out of the hand, but finds that gap.
And I guess that answers my question. What's the point? Let's take a look at this one more time, Nate. Rolling back that Zuka replay. Just a little bit early out of the hand, you could tell. But I guess that's how you should do it. Bullseye for Deanne Carey. Another birdie.
And Ella going to swing this fairway and just kind of holds onto it a little too long. And she went with the standstill there. I think, some of the footing out here could potentially give these players trouble.
And talk more about these down trees. Storms, was it course maintenance? What exactly is making this course as rough around the edges as it's been?
No, there was a gnarly storm just a few weeks back that came through. Not quite a tornado, but really close to that in terms of wind speed. And all over the island, Brian, there are tall, mature trees that are just knocked down, and Rose Valley definitely suffered from that storm.
And with how many uphill, downhill shots we have, it's definitely going to force the players to be much more mindful about their footing, especially because there is that new PDGA rule that's more strict about what you can and can't do in regards to moving debris in your stance. Now we have Karen.
Yeah, and to touch on that further, it's an interesting rule. The rule states that you can move something if it's in your stance. And it actually goes as far to state that as far as you can stretch out, as far as you can lay down, Brian, is considered your stance. So, if something is 8 feet away from your lie, you likely can't move it. So basically, if it's in your run-up, you're not allowed to move it. And that's what the tournament, they applied for a waiver to try and change that because of all the down trees. They were denied the waiver. But I feel like it's one of those rules that is kind of up for debate, we could say.
Definitely a hot button topic amongst the touring professionals who are so used to being able to clear out their stance. And I think there's two sides of the coin. I think obviously playing against the elements and playing it as it lies is part of the nature of disc golf and being immersed in nature, so to speak. But also safety is a big deal. And there's also an extreme argument you can make. What if the land is truly unsafe? We want to give these players a good stance and a good lie to throw from. Hansen not capitalizing on the good positioning, but she's going to take the 4. Deanne and Martel both have looks for birdie. Deanne is a tap-in. And Corver is a bit farther away.
Okay, great. Now I got another one. But they're usually not. Well, I shouldn't have to worry about this too much.
And JK with a long circle 2 bid for birdie. This is about 70 feet.
Yep.
Just a layup. Carey's tap in about to bring her to 3 under through the first 4. And Martel with a birdie putt to do the same. Yes! Birdie for Martel.
3 through 4, Brian.
And with that birdie putt from Karen, we are going to send it to a quick commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network. We'll see you on the other side.
I want to be known for, I guess, like the titles I win, and I want to be known for winning a lot of tournaments. And you know, hopefully I get to a point where I can be dominant in an era. But with so many people coming up in the game, so hard to stay consistent at the top. You know, we haven't really seen that in a long time. So that's kind of my goal, is to set the new standard for this generation.
Shot by Simon.
What a veteran play by Simon.
Beautiful putt. Great putt.
I'm blown away.
Champion at the Great Lakes Open, Simon Lazat.
Welcome back. T of 5, Deanne Carey.
Pretty big shot required right here. 385 feet uphill. Dan just going to flex that one out into the center.
Wow. 385-foot par 3, significantly uphill. I mean, that's playing over 400, Nate.
Yeah, it really is. Probably playing 425, especially because you have a late left to right finish in the flight here.
Playing kind of like a mini par 4 unless you're Ella Hansen, essentially. Just going to have to take the 3 and move on.
Yeah, Ella attacking here, going with her more understable 12 speed.
And still in circle 2. Let's take a Zuka replay, roll this back. I mean, Nate, she's got to just blast this tee shot uphill, get it to finish. I mean, what do you do? Roller?
Yeah, it's just really hard to roll in that terrain. I think this is just one of those holes where you have to concede a throw-in or a really long putt for the birdie. I mean, that's one of the longest throwers in the world in the FPO division, and she smashed on 12 speed and is still in circle 2.
I mean, 385. I mean, that's way up there. Our entire chase card took a 4 on it just to give insight.
I think we should flip flop up to
I like that.
I thought, because I mean, it's a challenging par 4 if you take it from the back. And then the guys can actually
really
get it
gettable from there.
No.
Yeah, they're talking about flipping the tee pads, letting the women play from the men's par 4 and letting the men throw the par 3. Actually, not a bad idea when you think about it. Now JK in a tough position on the left side of the fairway. It's looking like she is lining up forehand. Still has quite a bit of distance left to cut off.
Yeah, she put herself in a pretty tough spot here. She might be forced into this forehand. Feeds it to the front of the circle. A little 34-footer left for her par.
It's definitely hard to stick one on that right side of the fairway, especially with it being so far uphill.
Kind of bleeds that one out just inside the circle there.
Well, we have 3 looks for par outside of circle 1, maybe 1 just inside. So it'll probably score closer to a par 4 than we thought. Now Ella Hansen for birdie. Not going to fall. But a 3 will take strokes on most of the field now.
I imagine that's the best look for birdie we're going to have. Can't really see a shot getting too much closer.
I mean, Nate, it's a crush if you want to throw a big turnover into circle 1. I mean, that's 420 to 450 feet of power to carry a turnover the entire way. I mean, obviously to get a disc to finish that distance is understandable, but to get it to turn all the way there is a tough ask.
Juliana not able to swing that putter back in. She's going to be looking at a single bogey here. Deanne from a similar distance pulls that one right side. She's also going to bogey.
Now Karen Martell for what will only be the second 3 of the day if Ella can tap in. I'm liking the putting stroke.
Strong. Yeah, no doubt, Brian. The putter is strong right here with Martell.
See that one more time, Nate. I love that kind of hybrid push spin style. Straight arm initially and then kind of breaks it to get the disc to spin more. Clean. And that is the second par of the day. Hole 5 playing tough. It's going to be a 4 for Deanne. And Corver does the same. Karen Martell from Victoriaville, Canada, just outside of Montreal, 10 hours away from Prince Edward Island, is sitting at the top of the leaderboard early. She is 3 under through 5. Nate, I have been impressed.
Yeah, here on 2. Great wind read. She just watched Ella throw OB. She just kind of chokes up on this driver, swings it wide. Good looking shot there. I see the Holland little flare that you're talking about in the wrist, Brian.
It's that late lag. Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
little bit of lag when she's trying to speed up on something. But then here, up ahead, just a beautiful 370-foot shot down the hill.
Yep, same disc. And this putting stroke right here is what's really impressive. Yeah, really leaning into that. Weight is forward and that back leg kicks way back. Gets above the hips even. She's looking good through 5.
So much golf left to play. And we have not even gotten into the thick of this course here at Rose Valley.
5, Deanne. I had a 4. 4, Karen. 3, good putt, JK. 4. 4, Ella. 3. It is you. Ooh, holy, no.
Stepping up to hole 6, 588 par 4.
Power flick here. Looked a little too much hyzer out of the hand, but it actually flips up on her, and that's in the fairway.
Step 1.
She might have surprised
complete.
herself a little bit.
You know, Nate, I've made this observation before, but for an ultimate player with such experience, you'd think she'd be a hyzer flip forehand player, but she is ripping on some overstable plastic. Nice shot.
No. No.
And hoping for that one to cut roll out.
I feel like it's got to pan just a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Backhand's tricky here. You don't want to hit the tree line deep. Got to get moving right.
And Juliana going slow speed. Just a little low out of the hand, but that's in the fairway.
Well done. All right, let's fly. Hole number 6, Nate. Walk us through it.
Yeah, it's just 588 feet. Distance really isn't the issue here. The issue is getting the angle right as far as the nose as you're throwing significantly downhill, probably 30 feet from tee to this fairway. These trees here on the inside, you want to fly just around those, and it's really easy to push this one too far. We saw Martell land right on the inside of that road there. That's a great spot to approach from. And then you have 2 obvious choices here, either left of this main tree or right where the drone's flying. And then this basket is kind of tucked with some dense rough just behind it and to the right of it. This is probably one of the more scoreable par 4s on this front 9.
You know, sometimes, Nate, we look at these drone flyovers and we see roads and walking paths and playground equipment, but right here at Rose Valley, we just see disc golf course, and that is pretty spectacular that we've been able to capture this from the Flight Factory drone flyover. What a property for the sport.
Yeah, it gives you a different feeling when you're out there playing, when you're not having to wait on cars or... Deanne kind of out of position here, probably 350 to the pin. She's going to have to flip something up on that right side. Yeah, a little too understable again. Picked up that same disc. A little flippy on her right now.
I feel like when you looked at the speed that she threw that, though, I feel like that was a conservative play. I think she was just trying to grab a 4. I think she kind of realized how technical it was going to have to be. And like you said, the rough out here is thick. And I know that we don't talk too much about disc molds here, but this is notable. This was an arrow that Juliana Korver threw, which was the original mold that Innova came out with, originally called the Eagle. And they just ran some anniversary editions of that mold. Super cool to see that disc still flying.
The Halo Arrow.
Been to some old disc heads houses before and seen some of the original arrows made back in the early 80s. And originally that was the big distance driver at the time. That was that beveled edge that really blew everybody's minds back then.
Martel just inside 300 feet here. Still going with the standstill. Checks up before the rough. She'll have a shallow circle 2 look. .255 for Ella. She's just gonna go putter straight at it.
Oh, that's not pretty, Nate. If she snuck through that tree line, it's going to be a rough out from there. And Karen Martel, 3 under through 5. Long look for birdie here. So much going on here at Prince Edward Island, not just the course at Rose Valley, but Nate, there's just beautiful disc golf all around up here in this area.
Yep, Hillcrest, Huckett, definitely ones to check out if you find yourself here. And you got to grab a lobster roll. I mean, it's as fresh as it gets, as cheap as it ever gets, honestly.
Now Korver. And how much we're talking about these lobster rolls, Nate? Are we talking $30, $20?
Well, I just had one yesterday that was 28 Canadian, so that's right around 20 US dollars for 6 ounces of lobster, warm butter roll, and some fries. And it's a delicacy of the region, no doubt.
I'm on my way, Nate. Now, Deanne Carey. Little chip forehand, no problem.
Onyx came in handy out here the past few days. So I'm treating this from the
Got some long looks coming up. Martel from circle 2, hoping to continue this putting streak. Putter has not touched the ground yet so far. And a par will do. And Ella has stayed on the outside here, luckily. Giving her a look at birdie. Still tough.
Yeah, she's looking high. Gonna try and drop something in. Oh, nearly dunks it.
And Ella is going to stay even. Just a few mistakes when it comes to the approach shots cost her some of those easy birdies. You know, even looking at that second shot, you'd think she was going to go wide spike hyzer or something like that, and tried to go up the gut with the putter, didn't quite capitalize. Now Corver for par. Definitely not that flat stroke we're used to seeing from JK. Just a release issue there. Now carry for par. And no birdies on hole number 6. And we will see them on the 7th. Up ahead to Isabel Burke on 8.
Nice hyzer, gentle flip up. Yeah, good swing there. No.
Dunks it.
A hole in one for Isabel.
First ace on camera. What a shot. Shake it off. Sticks the yin yang in the basket, Nate. What
That
a
is
shot.
Too cool, Isabel on the Disc Golf Network. We've got chills. What? First ace? The pure joy here.
What a surprise. Let's take a look at this line, Nate. This is a beautiful shot. Slow hyzer flip. It's riding up the entire way.
That's 315 feet.
Not a bad first ace to grab out here on the Disc Golf Network at Rose Valley. Congratulations, Isabella. Back to the feature card. Karen sticks one in the middle.
Ella going 7 speed here. Release point's a little off, but she gets some help right there and finds the fairway.
You really have to cut this one tight. This tee pad is placed in a very specific spot. You swing that hyzer too wide, you're going to land in the thick stuff. And I think that was the point. That's the challenge that the tee shot presents. Deanne going to be stuck on that right side.
Clean swing right there. Center cut.
Oh, man, Nate, I can't stop thinking about that ace. I mean, completely blind, having no idea that it drops in the bucket. Actually reminds me, AJ Risley and I practicing for Ledgestone a few years back. He aces the water tower hole in practice, and we have no idea it goes in. We walk up, it's in the basket. I mean, those moments are just so special. You'll never forget.
And the chances that she's in this field, there's 7 of them. She's on the Disc Golf Network for her first ever hole-in-one. I mean, the reaction on that I can't wait to see her reacting to her own shot when she makes the waves on the internet.
I mean, earned that every bit. Beautiful line. And if you want to see aces like that, and it happens every year at Maple Hill, scan that QR code in the bottom left corner for a free 7-day trial of the Disc Golf Network. Catch this action, Maple Hill.
Yeah, I believe if they sign up today, Maple Hill starts on a Thursday next week, Brian. So they should be able to watch days 1 and 2 of Maple Hill.
20. Yep, that's perfect. Yep.
Karen Martell's second.
Is that a factory die, Brian? Looks like a Discraft factory die on that.
Yeah, it's a cool looking disc for sure. But I will say, the moment she started her approach, her head and eyes went straight down to her feet. You can tell she was worried about her footing there with all those down logs and bits of bark. It's tough to throw like that. So very well done on that second. Carrie's second.
Yeah, she's kind of forced to go high here. And that's going to chew up quite a bit of her distance.
Now Corver, still tough footing.
Good angle, but still just not able to generate the speed to climb the hill.
So frustrating to be right in the middle of the fairway and not really have much of a run-up. But at the same time, you know, I wouldn't call this mountain golf, but the way the footing and just the terrain is in general, it almost feels like you are.
You can see Ella taking a peek at her steps as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of these situations, they're going to have to go to the standstill and just club up to something faster and flippier. It looks like she's got a little bit of a stance.
Yeah, and she's still going 7 speed, a little straighter. Oh, just not able to find that release point.
Yeah, and it's tough. You know, you have to rethink your spacing of your feet. And someone that didn't have to worry about footing was Isabel. And just classic, tough to follow up the ace with another fantastic shot. She got the ace.
Look at this flippy driver, Brian.
Oh, that was beautiful. Well done from Ratana. It's going to be a look for birdie. Now back to Hansen. Yeah, talking about spacing your footing, I mean, sometimes you're going uphill, your feet are bad. It's easy to step early behind your mini and then throw off your entire timing.
Ella. Oh, gets a little help back into the circle there.
And that's going to be a putt for par.
He drops it. Like, it doesn't matter. As soon as he's in the fairway, he just drops it.
Emily Yale on 9.
Get around it.
going to find a little gap on that right side. Oh,
Wow!
A little skate off the down tree.
Now back to Carrie, her third. Yeah. No problem there for Carrie. Tap in par. And now Corver. Pretty. Nice spinny shot there from Corver. I love that so many players from that distance kind of have this like hybrid throw, jump putt, and JK is just pure frisbee toss when she's standing from that distance. I mean,
Yep.
It is a thing of beauty.
Catch. And a lot of people are kind of leaning on the overstability of the slow speed discs, and JK still going real flippy, little baby Annie.
Now Martell's third. No problem there. Bullseye. Martell still in the lead by 1. Now up to Meekum on 9. Her second. That's a drop-in birdie for Meekum. Now Yale.
Also going to drop that one in for birdie. Ella to save par here. 22 feet. Dead calm.
Nice putt. Just still hasn't gotten anything going since hole number 1. Bit of a slow start. Bunch of par tap-ins, and your feature card will move on to hole number 8. And as they walk over to hole number 8, let's take a look at the scoreboard right now. Still Karen Martell, 3 under through 7, your leader over Deanne Carey by 1. Hansen and Meekum still at even. You think 3 under is going to hold as the hot score, Nate, or do you think they're going to go farther down?
Yeah, I feel like the back gets a little harder, a little more dangerous, especially the final 4 holes. I was putting the field at 3 under to 5 under with the wind. The wind is kind of down, so yeah, I'm looking more toward that 5 under range for this opening round.
And back to Martell on 8. Let's see if they can replicate what Isabel Bork did.
Yeah, another nice gentle flip up. There it is. That's the bullseye flag.
You know, it's not a 1, Nate, but I think it's the next best thing there. Nice shot.
Ella going mid here and just kind of tugging on that one a little bit too. Not completely dialed this morning, Brian.
Yeah, we talk about intentionality behind drives, you know, seeing the disc come out of the hand and knowing that the player has dictated the exact line, and not quite seeing that right now from Hansen.
Deanne, a little wrist flare there. That's into the gap.
Yeah.
And trickles down to the bottom. That's just
it's a long look.
Outside the circle, looking back up the hill. You can see the wind kind of blowing right to left here on this tee. Looks good. Catches the last Guardian right there. Always so frustrating.
Now Ratana up on 10. Tight gap. Oh boy, up on that right side. Not too far off the edge. Now Yale.
Yeah, one of the tighter holes on the course.
And that will work. We approach the very wooded section of this property, Nate. Talk about some of the lines the players are going to have to throw out here.
Well, we just saw that kind of awkward staggered gap on 10. It's a straight shot, but they kind of put the tee off on the left side of that straight line, so you're kind of having to throw this like steep hyzer flip that gets back to flat and ride straight. And you can just see from this drone shot, Brian, that the path of destruction of this last storm. Look at all those down trees pretty much in a line there, and that is exactly why the tournament staff applied for that waiver, because it was just too much work to move every single one of these mature trees out of the fairway.
Well, we now enter the gap here on 8. And Hansen just wants nothing to do with the second shot. She's going to tap in a par and move on. And will remain at even par now. Deanne with a long look for the 2. Not going to happen there. Still a little bit of work left to do for par. And now we jump up just a bit more. Corver about 40 feet away.
Had the line, just never had the height. Bit of a scary putt right there as well. It's pretty good slope behind that bucket.
Really wasn't a terrible bit. I think the speed she put on it was really nice, like you said, Nate. Just maybe a few inches higher would have been a perfect putt. Corver also remains at 1 over on the day.
And Martell going to have a chance to extend her lead here. This to move to 4 down through 8.
All right, some early shredding from the Canadian. And some tap-in pars, and now we go back to Emily Yale. A little forehand approach here. Ooh. Clean forehand, Nate. And a beautiful upshot there for Emily Yale. And with that, we are going to jump to a quick commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network. We will see you on the other side.
So I started the Ulibarri Leadership Foundation for a pretty simple reason. So I had to choose between education and following my dream of disc golf. I don't want other disc golf athletes to have to make that choice.
Receiving the scholarship from the Leadership Foundation really did allow me to pursue my education, allow me to graduate on time while still having my passion be a big part of my life. So I got to do both, and I love it.
Can you feel it? It's fresh and something completely new. It's something that connects us with nature and where we care about what's around us. At Pure Disc, we believe that every small step counts. Our bags, made from recycled materials, may just be a drop in the ocean, but we believe this is the beginning of something. Pure Disc golf bags are waiting for you on our website, puredisc.net, with same-day worldwide shipping wherever you are.
Welcome back. Ratana.
That was for bogey.
And with that double, she drops down the leaderboard out of that third place cashing spot. She's now 2 over for the round through 10. Now Martel on 9. It's a shorter par 4.
Yeah, Ella going 7-speed. She could reach this. Gets past the trees. It's gliding out. And that's circle 1 right there. At a 30-footer for eagle.
Wow. It's a tough line, too. You can't crash out early. You got to throw something slower with a little bit more glide. Yeah, now Deanne.
She's going to try and hit this a little more. Annie to flat here. That's the line she loves. And you can see the difference there. Just kind of fading out earlier, going sharper, more overstable.
Yeah, I feel like the 2 comes from putting out there to space with something with a little bit more glide and then letting it naturally fade out of its flight. Now Corver. And that's going to get caught up early for Juliana. Short approach to the basket. As they walk up the fairway, a quick score check. Karen Martel, 4 under through 8. Deanne Carey holding strong at 2. And Ratana jumping down the leaderboard. No longer tied with Ella Hansen at even. Already some separation happening, Nate.
Yeah, and Ella has a chance to get to 2 under par on this front 9 with this eagle look here. And look at this. Little flick at the wrist, Brian, and that is circle's edge right there. It shows you what you can do even if you miss the tee shot here on 9.
Yeah, it's a bit of an easier par 4, but I like the concept of giving the players an opportunity to open up and take a look at 2 here. Juliana going with that same putter that she's been throwing from the standstill.
Yeah.
Bit of an early release there. Still putting for birdie. Just a short approach now for Deanne Carey. Textbook. Birdie look awaits, and now we jump up to see where Ella Hansen ended up landing.
And she is still unaware that she is inside the circle. Just finding that out now. I don't even believe that she'll be out.
I'm there. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Karen Martell's birdie putt is next. Actually, looks like JK bled that approach a bit too far left. She's out right now.
And she gets herself back to even par to close out this front 9. Her longest putt of the day.
All right, this is to get to 5 down through the front 9. Long straddle look here.
No. Perfect.
And
That
she
first
will
putt
take it.
really- it's the first one we've really seen offline like that.
I think it was also one of the first putts we've seen from that wide of a straddle stance. And now Ella Hansen for the eagle. And that is not going to fall. Tap in birdie. A few missed opportunities this front 9. Ella's short game just not working out for her so far.
Martell going to lose a stroke to her card, but still taking control on this front 9.
Let's take a look at that beautiful putt one more time.
Right in the sweet spot, right side of the pole. Nice little follow through.
And with that, Nate, they move on to hole number 10. Daunting shot.
Yeah, you can see that tee pad is just off the center of this gap here, and At the FPO, it's just a 310-foot par 3, slightly uphill, probably plays closer to 330 here. And you can see just how dense the rough is. You do not want to kick one of those early trees. Really hard to scramble here on 10. And things kind of open up a little bit around the green. You do have some room about 45 feet off to the left that you can fade into and still have a clean putt.
Get back on the fairway. Fine.
Wow. Couple of bounces leave her right in the middle of the fairway. That was a huge misfire from Ella Hansen. Just swinging the disc way too wide on that hyzer release. Well done. .310 feet, averaging a 4 with that previous card rolling through.
JK hits the line, but just a little too much hyzer on that driver, and it fades out early.
Just goes to show you what kind of shape they actually want you to throw on this one. You want it to hyzer initially because of where the tee pad is positioned, but then it has to ride all the way up to flat.
Oh, when Martell hits early.
And that's going to be the first time that we're going to see her have to scramble from a tough spot. Just going to have to see how she fares from there. Flying over the dense forest here on Prince Edward Island. Like you said, Nate, a very peaceful province in Canada, the smallest of the 13. And all we're hearing is nature sounds, birds. And if you are just tuning in on YouTube, the first round of the Discmania Open is streamed for free on YouTube, brought to you by the Disc Golf Network. And if you want to watch the rest of this tournament and the finishing stretch of this 2023 season, make sure to subscribe to the Disc Golf Network. If you want to taste beforehand, scan the QR code in the bottom left corner for a free 7-day trial of the Disc Golf Network. We have some huge events coming up. Karen Martell pitching out to the fairway.
She still has to hit the gap and climb the hill here.
Good? Yeah. That's chocolate. Oh my goodness.
What? What kind of skip was that, Brian?
That was the reverse skip of the year, Nate. If that would have missed that tree. But unfortunately, kicks off to the left, and that's going to be another long look. Let's take another look, Nate.
Have you ever in your life seen a disc anti skip up the hill like that? That was a Sonic the Hedgehog jump pad right there.
Unfortunately, kicking left and another long look for Martell. It's going to be a tough hole for her, unfortunately. Now Hansen.
Hyzer in. Oh, and just swings that stable mid around the chains there.
I don't know how far up I went before it.
Let's take another look here, Nate. This is what we've been talking about. She is making this adjustment, keeping that elbow high, throwing these really overstable discs. It's not easy to throw those, kind of pinning that elbow to the body. So the fact is she's finally throwing these shots the way they're supposed to, much more consistently than we've seen in the past.
Deanne sacrificing the Vans for the greater good. Yeah, 10 really playing uphill here.
Yeah, 310 feet. I mean, JK played up the initial line, but man, the finish is so specific. Now Juliana off on the left side. Yeah, just fine. Now this is Martel's look for bogey. And she's middle of circle 2.
She's going to bleed a couple right here. Double bogey coming up for Martel on 10th.
And with that, Deanne Carey tapping in par is going to give her the solo lead. Now this is Ellis par from 25. Now JK's par. Not going to happen for Juliana. That's going to be a bogey. And that will keep her in solo 4th, but now put her just a stroke away from Emily Yale.
Yeah, circle 1 really holding Juliana back today.
And a tough double bogey there. And with that, Deanne Carey grabs the solo lead. She's now 3 down to Martel's 2. Let's take a look at some shots from Deanne Carey today, Nate. Just a very consistent day for Deanne, grabbing some birdies early.
Yeah, Deanne showed us some moments of brilliance over the past couple seasons, and you know, she's struggled over the last 2 months here. She's missed cash at over half the events, and you know, snapping nearly last cash there at Worlds. You wouldn't know it with putts like that though, Brian. I mean, that was 38-footer, tailwind, just dunks it right on the pole. And here, this nice approach. Gets this inside line for the tap-in birdie there.
And hasn't made the big mistakes so far. I mean, that's really going to be the big big key out here at Rose Valley. Just getting yourself into a rough position off the tee is where the big numbers are going to come from, and so far she's kept it under control. Currently, Deanne is 27th in the points series. And with this tournament and Maple Hill coming up, she is very much still in the hunt for the Tour Championship, top 18. A win here could be huge for her, Nate.
I think it's possible if she has to play well at MVP as well as this tournament, so she's not out of it. I'm surprised to see a lot of those names up there that are just outside the number 18 spot not make the trip up here to PEI to nag those late season points.
Now we have Hansen up on 11.
This is just 205 feet, but it is tight. Ella gets medal. Wow, what a shape right there. Picks up the same overstable mid.
Oh, I love
cracks
this.
It. Bink.
Nate, this is a wicked overstable disc that she's throwing. This thing is trying to fight out of the flight the moment she throws it. Deanne going for a much more technical line. Not going to happen. She's going to be off on that right side. It's only 205 feet. And again, going with this backhand, you really need to throw something tight. Has to fight that left side. Karen Martell also going backhand.
One downed tree kicks her off into the rough.
I was like, is this just right? Blowing to the right. I'm blowing to the right.
Well, Nate, I was going to mention this. You're talking about the points, and you're shocked that certain players are not coming up to this tournament. You're right. I mean, I get that it's a very long stretch of the season, but players like Ella Hansen coming up here, getting experience not only in these tough wooded conditions, but also almost dunking aces on the rest of the field. We're going to patent that. That's going to be your Sunstein shot of the day. And for any intellectual property, things that you need to trademark or patent, make sure to reach out to Sunstein, longtime partner of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Now Corver.
Nice toss there. Ooh, carry just the front side of those chains.
And now a long look here for birdie from Martell. Just going to show you how short the hole truly is. She kicked really early. Still has a look. Definitely frames up for that flex forehand best. Hansen, after nearly dunking the ace, sizes up a nice birdie putt from 25.
Just out of sync today.
I mean, the win and the lead has been right there. I mean, it's been silver plattered for Ella Hansen today, and she just hasn't capitalized. Carrie's going to grab herself a par. She remains at 3 under. Hansen taps in par, Martell taps in par, and as they make the longest walk of the course to the tee of 12, we're going to take a quick commercial break here on the Disc Golf Network.
My name is Ricky Wysocki. I founded the Saki Bomb Foundation as a nonprofit organization committed to growing the sport of disc golf with America's youth. The foundation's First Putt initiative puts 50 discs and 1 portable basket in the hands of PE teachers across the United States at no cost to the school. We've already sent First Putt packages to schools in all 50 states with the generous support from our sponsors. If you want to be a part of this movement, visit SakiBombFoundation.org. Thank you for growing the sport of disc golf with us.
Whether I'm on the course or behind the camera, there's one thing driving me forward: the shot. The shot that no one else thinks about or would even dare to try. The shot that people will remember, that tells a story. For me, that's what disc golf's all about. Introducing the time lapse, the first 12-speed featuring gyro over mole technology, and the first disc in the Simon line. Coming soon.
Great Lakes Disc, located in Grand Rapids, Michigan, is a fully stocked retail disc golf store that fulfills all of your disc golf needs. We carry all of the major manufacturers, accessories, and offer player and event sponsorship, along with tournament payout assistance. To learn more about Great Lakes Disc, visit greatlakesdisc.com.
The Educational Disc Golf Experience is the leading nonprofit organization bringing disc golf to schools nationwide since 2003. EDGE provides age-appropriate discs, targets, and a classroom-linked curriculum which empower educators to teach the fundamentals of the sport. In EDGE's 20 years of existence, over 2 million youth have been introduced to this great lifetime activity. Be a part of the next chapter of disc golf. Support EDGE today.
Welcome back. Tee of 12, Hansen.
Yeah, another tight gap here, sub 300 feet, and she finds her line there and nearly gets medal on that tee shot.
I mean, Nate, this gap is 5 feet across?
Yep. And it's late in the flight, too, about 120 feet down the fairway. And You do not want to kick right or left.
And that's going to be trouble for Deanne Carey. I mean, there's not that many good gaps out there in the scramble zone. Got to hit this with a little hyzer. It's got to ride to flat.
Just a bit inside for JK. And a bit late for Martel, and the scrambling gets tough down there on that left side.
I mean, Ella just made that look way too easy, Nate. That was a literal flawless shot. We got to take a look at this again.
Just going putter here. Just really getting that disc around the body. Oh, a couple disc lengths away from our second hole-in-one of the day.
Well, that's got to feel good for Ella, too. Just the fact that she finally got one on line. She didn't open the hips up early. She stayed in that brace, sent the disc down in the direction she wanted it to. Definitely a momentum shot. Now Carey, tough spot on the left.
Gives herself a circle's edge look at the par. Hold on to that lead.
Hole 12, 287. Martel maybe about 160 away. That should be no problem there. Just a step outside the bullseye. And now JK from that left side. A little bit more open.
Yeah, small gap right here in front of her.
I mean, the gap here is bigger than the gap off the tee, Nate.
Yeah. This is arguably the tightest hole on the course.
And that's going to be well done. 20-footer for par waiting. Bottom left corner, scan that QR code. Get yourself a 7-day free trial of the Disc Golf Network. Lots of disc golf action still yet to come in this 2023 season. Carey lines up a long one. Uphill 40-footer for par. And that's not going to fall for Carey. She's going to drop a stroke and tie herself with Martel if she can grab this par putt. And now let's see if Ella Hansen can grab a share of the lead.
Finds her line right there. Puts that putt on the pole for birdie.
And that's going to be the only birdie on the day for the FPO division. Flawless shot from Hansen.
There we go. Uses the legs a bit more, gets that one up and over the nubs. Yeah, Ellis been making those mistakes in circle one, Brian, but, you know, 2 of those putts, one for birdie, one for eagle.
And this is to stay in a tie for the lead. Got it. And your feature card is going to walk on to hole number 13. We have to call this drive here from Ella Hansen the spicy shot of the day, brought to you by the Halal Guys. The Halal Guys strive to delight each customer with unparalleled hospitality and mouthwatering food at great prices. What a tee shot. Just an outstanding view of this course.
Yeah, we've got a short walk over to number 14, Brian, and it's a beauty, playing as a par 5 and winds its way through the woods.
And now we have a 3-way tie for first place at 2 under par as we move into 13. Long dogleg left.
Oh, yeah, apologies. I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is the par 4. Another tight shot off the tee. And this one, you really need to get up to speed. The turn left doesn't happen for the first 300 feet. So you really need to push this much straighter than you think.
Hansen's going to be off on that left side. Could potentially cut the corner.
It's a good look at the shape of this fairway now. Juliana looking for a little Annie out of the hand. And pushes that one a little deep.
Advances the fairway. Still a ways to go. It's a very specific landing zone.
There's that turn. And that checks up. That's in the money zone right there. Nestling up with our catch cam.
And now Deanne Carey hoping to match here. And left side for Deanne Carey. Scramble time for the feature card. And as they walk down the fairway, let's take a look at Nate's keys for closing, brought to you by blackinkdisc.com.
Yeah, pick your spots. I feel like the hardest section of this course is the finish. And you're playing back into the headwind today. The wind is out of the south, and the last 3 holes are going to finish into that headwind. The wind is picking back up. You're going to have to know your angle of release. And perhaps, the one time I'm going to encourage, maybe check the scores. There's 7 people in this FPO field. Maybe treat it as more of a match play mentality and look how your card mates are doing, and if you need to press on some of these difficult finishing holes.
Nate's keys for closing, brought to you by blackinkdisc.com, the premium disc golf store. And Nate, I couldn't agree with you more. I think there's a very specific reason why some of these touring players are here. Points is a huge deal. Making the cash is a huge deal. And we're just going to have to see after this round what number people should even be shooting for.
And Deanne from out
Carrie
of position.
going forehand.
Don't believe she made it back to the fairway there.
Yeah, it is interesting, Nate. Sometimes you interview players on the tour and you ask them like what numbers they're shooting for, or if they're going to play aggressive. And, you know, sometimes you'll hear from players, yeah, I'm just going to try to birdie all 18 holes. But a course like this, after seeing what we're seeing, that's not necessary. I mean, a player that goes 100% fairway hits is going to likely be the winner here. I mean, if you don't have to scramble from these tough spots, it's going to be so much easier to score out here. Hansen pretty much has nothing.
Yeah, I think the winner could be, 12 down on the weekend, just based on what we're seeing and what we've yet to see to finish this course. It gets pretty tough. Nice
Ella
little
with a
pitch
very
out there.
deliberate pitch out there, gets herself, yeah.
Might even be on that short pad. And Juliana just 30 feet or so deep of the gap.
Being deep of this gap is not fun either. If you just in her hand with the side between. I mean, this is jail, Nate.
Yeah, she's forced to just pitch this forehand back to the fairway. Catches something late. She'll have an angle, though. Oh, and Deanne, yeah, she did not make it back to the corner. She's going to be forced to pitch out once again.
It's going to be just fine there for Carrie. But now 2 pitch outs. This is going to be her 4th shot. Now Martell finally from the right edge of the fairway. Her 2nd. Not bad.
And JK just a few paces closer, and you can see there's kind of 2 clear gaps as you approach this green here. We saw Martell try to find that inside line, faded off a little early. I believe JK is going to try and shape something on that right side. Or you think she's going to try and swing this Annie in here?
Oh, man, Nate, I don't even know. Look at these gaps. Look how tight these are. You know, these are tight enough to where it's forcing you to bite off distance off the tee shot, or else this is extremely challenging. Just a weird angle now. She's slanted down to the left, uphill.
Yep, going with that right side.
Nice shot.
Really
so well done.
Thrown there.
Ninja.
You have to fight against so much to get that disc to fly the line that you want when you're sloped downhill, you're sloped left. You don't want to throw hyzer initially. Well done.
Yeah, you're talking maybe 10 feet gap on the right, 6 feet on the left.
And this is that disc that Ella's been clicking with
And it's dense over there left, too. That might be a tough up and down.
I mean, look at these gaps. I mean, this gap right ahead of her is maybe what? 6 feet wide at the most?
Yeah, and then it pinches in late. I think she's going wide. Does go with the wide shot. Yep. Skips up into the circle. Good cleanup there after struggling off the tee.
And now we got Hansen pinned off on this left side. Like you said, Nate, this is not even close to guaranteed. Her fourth. Yeah.
Hole 13
Solid.
showing us its teeth here.
Yeah, course is definitely a little rough around the edges from the storms. The crew has definitely done a ton out here to get it to the point that it is now. This hole is brutal, Nate.
I believe Juliana's the only player on this card. Looking at a potential par. $30 uphill. It's mean.
Extremely mean, Nate. Only one par so far in this hole. And that's going to be a tough double bogey for Juliana Korver on 13. Just feels so difficult to get in any sort of position on a lot of these holes. But again, I think players seeing this course and tournament for the first time are going to look back at some of these averages and realize what really needs to be done on these holes. Solid putt there for Carey. And this is Ella's bogey putt coming up in the woods pin high. And now Martel for a chance at a really nice par here.
She's up and in. She's taking strokes on this field.
Martel still 100% C1X putting. 25% from C2.
Ella leaks out left. She's going to take the double bogey. Wow, this hole has been unforgiving to this card, Brian.
Only 2 pars on the entire day. Double bogey for Hansen. And a double bogey ahead for Corver as well. Looking forward to seeing the adjustments in the next round. Now we go up to 14. Nate, talk us through.
Well, you need to go ahead and take a deep breath after playing the brutal hole of 13, because you've got another doozy right ahead of you here in the par 5, number 14. It's 800 feet, and the rough that we just saw around the green of 13, that is the exact rough that you're going to see throughout the entirety of this hole. This first landing zone is right at 290 feet, and then you have this kind of awkward second part of the fairway that takes a quick left turn. That section is only 175 feet long, and then once you're in this final section of the fairway to the FPO basket, you're left with just under 200 feet, and the green is open on the left side and really dense rough there on the right side. That first tee shot, Brian, finding that real specific landing zone right at that 300 feet mark, that's going to be the ticket here on 14. Let's see how our competitors bounce back after, spending the last 25 minutes there on 13.
Well, at least they're back out in the open. A little bit less claustrophobic as the previous few holes there. Martel saws that one off left. And that's not a good start here.
Thank you, thank you.
It just feels like one, Nate, where you just got to take something slow. Stick a fairway to start.
Yeah, it's slightly downhill late in the flight too, so the stability of the disc, if you get it too much height, you're going to fade off left and completely ruin your chances of a fairway hit.
Come back.
Oh no.
Deanne a little too flippy there.
Yeah, Ella clubbing down. Going to something a lot slower. And she's going to be scrambling as well. At least on that left side, she can stretch out and throw a forehand.
Come back. Join me.
That's got to check up now. Not going to happen. That's going to be pinched off on that right side. A pitch out likely.
None of these competitors able to match the shape of this fairway, Brian. It really is kind of a late flip in the flight, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's why we saw someone like Ella go for a putter off the tee, but just chose too stable of a disc. It's got to have that late flip and push, or at least just throwing something lower, not giving it the time to finish the flight. And, I think the players on this card are looking to do that, and it just so happens that they couldn't make it happen. But as we watched, I mean, this hole is very weirdly shaped. And the first step is just stick the fairway. So we'll see how this shapes up. Up ahead, Emily Yale on 15. Puts a nice move on it. Nice skip.
Yeah, full flight there.
Now back.
Just enough room for a little flex forehand there, and that's on the deep side of the second half of the fairway. That third shot, Brian's going to be the tricky one. That second dog leg left on 14 is awkward.
Well, she's all smiles back in the fairway. And Deanne Carey's disc still out in the open, but on that right side. Not going to give her any sort of comfortable look.
And she's trying to bite off through this corner here, and kind of a big mistake there. That's going to put her back in the rough. And look at the power of the storm that rolled through here. I mean, ripping up these trees.
I remember back in 2019, storms getting all the way up to Prince Edward Island, hurricane force winds, players playing I believe the Canadian National Championships were hit with the same conditions. Players on Nantucket Island playing the tournament there.
Mm-hmm.
Also narrowly escaping. And now Deanne Carey has more scrambling left to do here. And doesn't look like she has anything straightforward.
Tight gap here, and she's giving herself the green light. And she fades off early and is not at that second corner just yet.
I mean, this is shaped up to be a tough hole here for Deanne Carey alongside quite a few other players. Now up ahead, Isabel.
Ella tosses that putter out there, giving herself a better angle on that third.
And now Juliana's lie on that right side. Potential for her to advance the fairway a bit, but it's just really rough on this side.
She finds a gap. And she's cruising around the corner. That's within 150 feet.
What a shot.
And she
I guess that's how
silences
you
the
do it,
crickets,
Nate.
Brian. Silenced the crickets.
And now up to Emily Yale, birdie on 15.
Good bid. Thanks. Speed first.
And now Isabel for her birdie.
Oh, she's good for it. Look at that scorecard. Up and down day. She says, it doesn't matter. I aced.
Amen, Nate Perkins.
Ella going stable.
It's always a special moment to
mid.
get your first ace in general.
Just back-to-back doozies of holes, Brian. I mean, the rough is just so dense. Deanne's still going to leave herself 200 feet down the hill or so. Just a decent look from the drone. Gentle S-turn into a dogleg right, and then a really sharp dogleg left, almost horseshoe-esque on that final turn. It's slightly downhill as you approach the green.
Little bit deep there for Martel.
Yeah, interesting to go with the full swing there. It almost might have benefited her better to just kind of pitch up to that corner, give herself the angle. She tries to bite off some distance there, and she pushes it onto the deep side.
I mean, that's just got to be lack of experience in tournament on this course. I mean, I feel like it's a course that there's just so much to unpack here, and there's so many different situations you can get yourself into. And now that lesson has been learned, and maybe she'll bend the corner and realize that. Now, Carrie. Hell.
Got it. Oh.
Now a little deep. Well, we'll see what she has from here. It looks a little tight back there. Okay, not terrible at all. Long look there for Ella. It's going to be a circle 2 look for par.
And JK after cutting the corner, Brian. Floats the arrow in. She's got the tap in birdie here on 14.
And that's got to feel good.
Another low putt there from Hansen. She'll be tapping in the bogey. Deanne kind of rolled out to circle's edge down this hill.
About a 35-footer here for bogey for Deanne Carey.
She's going to go bogey double here on 13 and 14. That's actually going to be 4 over on the last 3 holes.
And Juliana Korver grabbing the birdie with apple in hand. What a birdie on such a treacherous hole. Take a look one more time at this beautiful second shot, cutting the corner, standstill. Full flight down the fairway. That was so beautiful. After a great birdie from Juliana Korver, we are going to take a quick break here on the Disc Golf Network. We'll see you on the other side.
Are you sick and tired of browsing through countless online stores for your disc golf equipment only to come up empty-handed? Look no farther. At Tintin Discs, we have a vast selection with pictures of each disc so you can find the exact one you need. We offer a wide variety of top-quality brands at affordable prices, including discs, bags, accessories, and much more.
All the scoring that we do in our sport now is all digital. Having some sort of backup power source is going to be really important. You feel that it's a good quality product. And having a stash pack that holds the cable that connects to any device, it just works. And so that's why this thing really works for me.
At Discraft, we don't wait to see what the future holds. We build it. The future is in your hands.
Great Lakes Disc, located in Grand Rapids, Michigan, is a fully stocked retail disc golf store that fulfills all of your disc golf needs. We carry all of the major manufacturers, accessories, and offer player and event sponsorship, along with tournament payout assistance. To learn more about Great Lakes Disc, visit greatlakesdisc.com.
Welcome back. Flying over the 15th here at Rose Valley here in Prince Edward Island, Canada. It's been a tough round so far, Nate. I think the theme out here at Rose Valley is survival more so than attacking. I think we could see some game plans steady up, so to speak, in future rounds out here.
Yep, and Karen Martell is keyed in on that game plan. She stayed steady on the toughest stretch of the course, holes 11 through 14. She played at even par, and she has a 3-stroke lead now.
Now up ahead, Isabel.
Back into the headwind here on this nearly 400-foot par 3.
That's going to be no problem. Now Ratana. No problems there. And now Emily Yale.
Good shape there.
Back to 15. Juliana Korver.
Yeah, just 320 feet, slightly downhill here. And JK flies.
Nice shape.
A little deep there. You want to see that one start to hook up just a little sooner in the flight.
Yeah, there's a little pond that's casual that you can just kind of crash a hyzer into. Now Martell.
Yeah, even that's a little deep of the gap, Ryan. I think you want to see it start to hyzer just around the fir trees on that left. And a little too inside there for Ella, showing some frustration.
And let's take another look at that drive from Juliana Korver. Putting herself within a putt for birdie. Gets to flat, rides a little bit deep of that gap initially. Not too shabby.
Probably 45 feet coming back at the pin. Gonna have to wait and see what her line looks like. Yeah, JK's had a pretty clean day off the tee. I mean, 53% fairway hits, but just really that circle one putting has just held her back. Of course, that putt back on 13 for the par save that actually rolled back down the hill. She went on to double bogey that hole, but she's just 4 off the pace right now.
And shout outs to Flight Factory for providing this beautiful drone flyover of Prince Edward Island. Seems like the only sounds we're hearing out here are chains and nature sounds, Nate. Hansen's second.
Yeah, she's going neutral 7-speed high, trying to get this one to float back. That's almost like a high frisbee MTA toss, Brian.
It's a tough line to hit, too, especially if you want to get it to track back to the left. And I don't think she got it to do what she wanted there. Karen Martell off on the left side. Sorry, Deanne Carey off on the left side.
Punches that one into
just
the
outside
circle.
the bullseye.
Got a lot going on this green here of 15. Little creek running through it. Looks like some erosion control right inside the bullseye. Maybe helping our players out from some rollaways back into the creek.
And Ella has blown this forehand so long, and now she's moving the catch cam. She's going to have to go hyzer through this back door now. This is her third. Okay. It's going to be a putt. But another bogey ahead for Ella Hansen. It's not been a stellar day for her. Now Juliana Korver figuring out what lie to take here.
Oh, from the creek. Korver sinks it. "52 feet with the arrow. Run it back." Oh. Didn't even have to jump that one, Brian.
It's got to feel good to get in a tough spot like that and still grab the birdie. Fantastic from Juliana.
Deanna, a little tricky around this last tree here, deciding whether she wants to try and drop it in on hyzer. Taking a look at it. Going back to the normal stance here. Oh, and just sends it high into the right side of the chains.
Very well done
there
for Carrie. Going to keep her tied with Juliana Korver for second place. Bogey for Hansen's going to drop her back to +2, tied for, well, fourth place now, solo fourth.
And Martel's going to hang on to a 3-stroke lead over the Americans. Could we see another Canadian champion at back-to-back Silver Series events, Brian?
Hey, they're going to have to catch her, Nate. She is chipping away at this course. Now up to Isabel. Got it. Par on 17. One more hole remaining in round number 1. Now Ratana for par. Also got that. And now Emily Yale for par. And a tough miss. A tough roll, and that ends up in a double bogey for Emily Yale with 1 hole remaining. Tough break. Karen Martel from Victoriaville, Canada, your leader by 3 over Juliana Korver, Deanne Carey. Nate, what is this recipe for success? What has Karen done so far that you've noticed?
Well, she scored early on. I think the front 9 is pretty ripe for the scoring. And then, of course, that difficult section in the dense woods here of Rose Valley, we saw the rest of the card single, double bogeys on, 11 through 14. And she stayed even par through that section, and that's really where she gained strokes on her card mates.
Well, we step up to hole number 16, super uphill, par 4, 644. Nate, what's the trick here?
Well, the trick is you really want to get to the top of this hill. You really want to be seeing this basket if you have any hopes of finding yourself in circle 1. I'm going to say it takes 375 feet of distance to really be in position to see this pin. And we're going to be playing into the slight crosswind. Slight head left to right here. Not going to be helping the shots climb the hill here. But really power is what plays here on 16.
Now Korver. Currently in second place. Now your leader, Aaron Martel. Easy. Simple.
Yeah, Deanne looking a little wider here and actually playing this high. That shot, that needs to get back. And she finds the hazard. And And look at the difference, Brian, in the power right there. She climbs the hill. That's 375 feet, no problem on the one angle.
Let's take a quick replay of this Ella Hansen drive. I mean, for uphill shots, Nate, she has the perfect line for it.
I mean, you're talking about a 10 to 15 mile per hour difference in the speed of the disc coming out of her hand compared to the rest of her card.
Well, and that allows you to throw discs that are just specifically designed to handle longer shots, and that definitely helps you on holes like this. And there's quite a few out here. I mean, obviously the middle section of the course, if you can just maintain, that's where a lot of the scoring is going to come from. But we've noticed a few holes, especially out in the open, where distance is an enormous advantage.
Well, this is something I've never experienced before, Brian. We can see Deanne's disc, but she has yet to locate it. She's coming up on it. She still hasn't located it. Okay, she's found. What a unique position to be in. If we had her phone number, we could maybe text her, let her know. A little to the left. So this does play as a hazard. Just going to add a stroke. Throw in 3 here. Forced to go to a standstill.
And that will work for Carrie. Back in play. Quarter second.
Should be around 150 to the pin from there.
Yeah, just throwing distant shots uphill like this is so difficult. All of that weight shift just goes away. There's so many adjustments you have to make with the upper body, the release angle, the stability of disc.
Yep, nice pull from Martel.
Karen has thrown a good one.
Just in front of JK there. And still have yet to get to Ella's disc. Here we are. And she can see the pin. Probably just over 300 feet. As far as the power necessary, she's still going driver here. And even that,
wow,
Brian, I mean, she
just goes to show you, Nate.
It must have just fallen out of her hand right there.
Now Carrie lines up. This is her fourth.
Still going driver here. Oh, and that's low. Punching shot. That's not even into circle 2. Hey, JK, right at 160 here. Still going driver on this approach. Yeah, maybe even a little further, probably closer to 220 on that approach. She leaves herself out in circle 2. Hard to really understand how uphill 16 plays as you approach this green. Martell still going with that dyed driver. That wind getting up underneath it, pushing it out to the edge of circle left. She'll be putting back into the headwind. And cruising over to 18, here's Emily Yale. Decent start, but a rough back 9 there, especially that finish. She's going to finish at 9 over on the day. Isabel in for the double on 18, finishes at 12, of course, with the ace. Ratana 6 over on the day. That back 9 really showing its teeth to all of these competitors. Deanne just outside the bullseye there. Ella gonna chip this mid up into the bullseye there. Yeah, JK tosses that arrow up there. Man, Brian, you really can't tell how uphill this green is until you see these competitors pulling out these drivers on these 200-foot approaches.
Nate, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, it's just not even fair to call this a par 4. I mean, it is a huge hole. I mean, it's weird to see a player throwing a driver on a 200-foot shot.
Corver going to drop one here with the bogey. Deanne's dropping 2. She is 6 over on the last 5 holes. And Ella, the lone par here. And Martell gonna drop a stroke here, and we are going to take a short break here on the Disc Golf Network. We got 2 holes for you on the other side.
One of my favorite memories growing up was a trip I took with my dad to Hawaii. We just got done with a round of disc golf and decided to listen to the Grateful Dead. Without saying anything, we both knew we needed to dance, and that's exactly what we did. Sometimes you just need to stop and enjoy the music.
TeamDiscraft.com. All the team favorites on one site.
we are back taking a look at hole 17. 393 foot par 3. We're going to be playing back into the headwind here. You can see the banners blowing directly into their face there, and Ellis steps up on the pad. She's going to go 12 speed here. Didn't quite commit to the width there. It's going to stable up just short and left. And I've got to think the rest of this card is kind of playing this one for par. Could be easy to flip this one off into the rough. Martell stables up just a bit. And that headwind still bleeds that disc over, but she finds the center of the fairway outside of circle 2. And this has been a tough back 9 for Deanne. Nice flex there. Yeah, when people ask me what I think of Prince Edward Island, I always say it just has this level of peace to it that is hard to find these days. Only 157,000 people live on this island, and come September, it's just a nice place to find yourself. All the tourists are gone. The lobster is fresh. The PEI oysters, they have blueberries this time of year. Martell gonna try and toss this one in here. Slightly uphill. Yeah, good pace on that one. Yeah, they also have this place here in PEI called the Hand Pie Company. I describe it as something like an empanada. A little different, a little heartier. It's a known favorite amongst the disc golfers, and JK sailing over the pin there. She might have left herself 20 feet or so on that comeback.
And Nate,
Ella is our last chance at birdie. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
Well, no, Nate, I have to ask you, looking at a lot of these holes, I mean, do you see room for adjustments to be made to better the scoring spread for the FPO division, or do you feel like it's something where the division kind of has to catch up?
I felt like this one, especially into the headwind, is a tough ask. I also felt like hole 5, what was that? That 385-foot par 3 up the hill. Felt like maybe they could have moved that one back and changed it into a par 4. But also, it's tough to say with the limited field. 393 feet is totally an acceptable par 3 these days. If you have the entire field here, I think we're going to see more birdies.
Over for par.
Oh, it looked like a lot of chains right there. Bleeds out. She's going to drop back-to-back strokes. Rest of the card in for their pars. Ella cruising into second place.
Well, Nate, Karen Martell, your leader, played a very solid round out there today. What have we noticed so far?
Well, here she is on hole 2. Gets the wind read from Ella. Commits to the width. Perfect stability choice there. Goes on to drop that putt in. And here she is on 3. Little baby flex here. Same disc. Stables up late in the flight. What a read. That's a 383-foot hole, and that's just easy money for Martell right there. And here she is. Beautiful putt from just outside the circle. That's where we really started to raise our eyebrows at this Canadian's potential. Here she is on 8. That little hyzer that we saw Isabel ace. Martell just in front, outside of the bullseye there. She looks good, and she has a 3-stroke lead over this woman right here, Ella Hansen, who has put a good move on this driver on the final hole of the day.
What's the challenge here on 18, Nate?
Well, they're playing back into the headwind. And so I think distance into this headwind is kind of the challenge. This first tee shot is downhill, and you want to go flippy because you're trying to get big distance, but you have to find that balance between, too stable, not enough distance, and too flippy, and you find that hazard.
Well, Martell is going to snap back to the fairway. She's going to have a nice downhill run up. She's just chipped away at this course, Nate. She's found fairways, minimized the stress, and she has a 3-stroke lead so far. Solid shot there for Carey, right in the middle of the fairway as well. And if you are enjoying watching this disc golf content, make sure to tune in next week on the Disc Golf Network for the iconic Maple Hill course, the MVP Open presented by OTB, the playoffs. This final stretch of the Disc Golf Pro Tour season, you do not want to miss this tournament starting on Thursday next week. Nate, I mean, you and I both know we've played there, competed there, watched there. It is one of the most iconic courses in our sport.
It certainly is, and that's the iconic rock wall, the site of Chipmunk Gate back in 2016 at the very first Disc Golf Pro Tour event, which went down at Maple Hill.
And if you are not a member of the Disc Golf Network, make sure to scan the QR code in the bottom left corner right now for a free 7-day trial of the network. Again, catch the rest of this tournament. Also, catch the beginning of the MVP Open at Maple Hill. Now Martell lines up her second.
Perfect position there, Brian. Nice wind read there.
No need to go
good.
For anything special.
Yeah, good stability choice into that headwind.
Corver putting a little turn on it, not too bad. Solid positioning as well. And Carey's going to do the same, right in the great position to get up and down for par. Now that we've seen this property in its entirety in competition, Nate, what are your thoughts on how these players need to be approaching this tomorrow?
Yeah, it always, changes your mind after you see players play it in competition versus just coming and walking the land. It's a healthy mix of open holes as we're seeing here on 18 and the first few holes to start, and then the dense woods there, and those prove to be the more difficult holes. I feel like you score here on these open holes if you have the power, and then you really maintain and potentially score on some of those shorter par threes. But wow, that stretch of holes on the back nine is really what limited a majority of this field from scoring.
Well, and like you said, you look at Martell's scorecard, and it was relatively clean. I mean, it's almost impossible to birdie some of those holes, it feels like. I mean, the shots are there, but when you factor in the uphill, when you factor in the angles, when you factor in how treacherous the rough is, getting aggressive and putting your foot on the gas every single shot is not necessarily the recipe for success here. I mean, hot score is 1 under par total right now. Solid shot there. Par putt waiting.
This is a tough birdie, Brian. 800 feet, par 4. It's downhill off the tee, but
it's
when
just
you're
another
playing
one of
back
those
into this
holes.
headwind,
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with you 100%. I think it's just another one of those holes that's slightly out of reach. I mean, we have our litmus test playing these holes. We have Ella Hansen out here playing out, on this property, and even she is not getting to the basket. Markel. Out a very good opening round. Her first lead at a Disc Golf Pro Tour event. And I think that 1 under par mark is the bar to set.
Final chip here for Ella
Hansen.
Little meat left there.
Now Korver for par. And that's going to be yet another bogey for Juliana Korver.
Yeah, tough finish there. She's going to bleed strokes on the final 3 holes, Brian. Wow. Martel to be the only player in the field to shoot under par, Brian, and she does it with a clean 30-footer on the final hole.
Showcasing a very solid skill set out here, Nate. She's got everything it takes to shoot this round again and again. And I guarantee you, if she goes 1 under, 1 under, that's going to be a argument for the lead. Carey's going to finish at 3 over for the day. Tied for 3rd place. And will be solo after the bogey tap in. Now Hansen. And it was the short game, Nate. Everything else was firing away, and it was just the routine shots that were not working for Ella Hansen, and that is going to put her in a tie for 2nd place.
Yeah, and that's going to extend Martel's lead to 4. And the difference there, Brian, that's 4 circle 1 putts. Ella missed 4 from inside 25 on the day. Martel 100% from circle 1.
And that's what it takes out here on a course like this.
What makes the Halal Guys so deliciously different? You might have heard of our famously long cart lines that NYC fans happily stand in. Today, with over 100 plus restaurants across the globe, we are your place to experience authentic American halal. Enjoy our delicious falafel, Euro sandwich, platters, and sides topped with our famously flavorful white and hot sauces. Order online today and taste how we make different so delicious. The Halal Guys, bringing something deliciously different to the table.
We are the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We exist not just in the throws and the putts, but in the hearts of those who make it possible. We are a story. Behind every disc thrown, there is a team. Professionals bound by respect, care, and a shared passion. We work tirelessly to create disc golf's grandest stages at the world's premier venues. Together with volunteers and fans, we form a community that not only shares the love of disc golf, but enriches lives beyond the game. It's our goal to continually evolve professional rules, benchmarks, and experiences to ensure the highest level of play. Every competition and every throw is an invitation to a world-class experience. This is who we are. This is our story. Welcome to the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
Welcome back. Aaron Martell, your leader by 4 going into that Discmania Open. And with that, Nate, we have the OTB shot of the day coming up. There were quite a few. My guess has to be the standstill from Juliana Korver to grab the birdie on the par 5.
That's a good guess. We had an ace. We didn't have the catch cam there on that ace. I feel like Isabel could
we have to
nab
give it
with
to
that
Isabel.
reaction. I think the reaction alone. Also, Ella Hansen grabbed some medal. We're gonna have to see.
We got to go, Isabel. I mean, you make your debut on the Disc Golf Network. You're right, Nate. I'm eating my words there. Absolutely.
Yes. Hole 8, little flip up driver here.
Welcome to the Disc Golf Network. What a shot. And what a shot for your first ace. Wow. Just a priceless reaction. It's those special moments, Nate, that keep us coming back to this beautiful game. And with that said, we have 2 more rounds, including a round this afternoon. MPO, Eagle McMahon, Isaac Robinson going off at 2:30 Atlantic time. That's 1:30 Eastern time. For Nate Perkins, I'm Brian Earhart. We're signing off. We will see you tomorrow.